I am here.
Hey, Sean. Melanie.
Here.
John. John, that's not here. Jody. No, Jody. Ron,
I'm
818.
here. Having some technical difficulties, but I am here.
I saw your Valley phone number. Welcome, Ron. And Jay. Present. Welcome. For the back, Daniel. Jen. Kevin.
Hi, Kevin here.
Kevin. Estella.
Here.
Sam.
I'm here.
Valerie.
I'm here.
And a vacancy. For once, the pack has more folks than the back. The high water moment for the Pedestrian Advisory Committee. City staff, we got our usual suspects. Our visitors, not volunteers, would like to introduce yourself.
I'm Kim Austin from MetroPlan. I'm the TDM planner, and this is Haley. Haley Bishop. She's you can introduce yourself.
I'm the AmeriCorps Safe Routes to School.
Well, thanks for joining us. And Elaine.
Sure. Elaine Mariel, ADOT Active Transportation Planner.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us. We will
you.
start with an open call to the public. Martin, did we get anybody who wanted to say anything? Maybe talk about Sam's hair?
I don't see anyone from the public. It looks like Lorena is here from Mountain Line.
Oh, okay.
And
Howdy.
Hello.
representing Mountain Line or the public?
Mountain Line, or both. Sorry, I wanted to be there in person, but got cross-eyed with some grant work, so I'm multitasking.
Yeah, well, thanks for joining us. We'll move on to approval of minutes, starting with 2 rounds of minutes from the Pedestrian Advisory Committee. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Thanks, Sean. Thank you, Melanie, for a second. All in favor from the pack of approving those 2 sets of minutes, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, 2 sets of minutes approved. And for the Bicycle Advisory Committee, 6 sets of minutes, which I'm sure everyone's studied very closely. Anybody motion to approve your minutes?
I will motion to approve
All
them.
right, thanks, Sam. Any second?
I'll second. Kevin Hayes.
Thanks, Kevin. All in favor from the back of approving your minutes? Please say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Those minutes are going to be a Netflix series soon, by the way. Pack will be in the next season.
All right, bunch of minutes approved. Moving on to our discussion items and starting with the Safe Routes to School Infrastructure Study.
He just ran out. Take a moment.
Ew. You wanna go out of order or you wanna wait for Carl?
Oh, we could, yeah, the second one is really quick.
Okay.
It's the capital improvements plan, so the city's starting capital planning season. Pack and Back have always been kind of involved in reviewing and planning for our capital budget for pedestrian and bike projects. We literally have nothing for you tonight to look at, but this is kind of an anticipation of things coming. We'll dive into it more deeply in November. We have to kind of wrap the process up by the beginning of the year, so around the very early part of January. Generally speaking, we'll see a lot of the projects that we've seen before. There have been some changes over the past year in terms of private development that's come forward that we will respond to with new capital projects potentially. So we'll do that in much greater detail at the next meeting.
Great. Thanks. And left to build suspense and anticipation for implementation.
Everyone talks among
We'll
themselves.
go back and talk about Safe Routes to School Infrastructure Study.
I've almost forgot these full color handouts. Grab one. If you have places you want to hand them out to, feel free to grab more than one. Bottom left.
This one.
This is, been working on the Safe Routes to School infrastructure study. It's a little different. There are two realms to clarify. There's the programmatic side of it, and then there's the infrastructure side of it. So then infrastructure side has a separate funding source. We got a grant for that, and we'll look at implementing specific stuff. Right now, we're in a bit of a push for public outreach in the Northeast Schools area. That is this area in general. I'll show you. So a lot of the schools clustered together within here. And so Coconut High School, MEMS, all this whole area, generally looking at ways to increase the access to there for multimodal, active transportation, transit, even too. All that stuff for safe routes to school. There's a hint at all that area together. Here's all the different schools. We'll go through this pretty fast. Just as a high level background for you.
Can you go back that one that had the number of students?
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Line up to expectations.
That was a lot. Thank you.
Often will we be able to look at those maps a little bigger at all or no?
Yeah, we can. Some of them I'll definitely zoom in on because they get really busy. There's a number here. This is kind of just the real high level overview stuff. Population's general population. I don't know if it tells us much. It's by block and all the blocks are different sizes, so not a whole lot. This one has to do with the student population as a percentage of the total population. So you can see that more than 20%. I can zoom in right within here. So pretty high percentage of kids that live in this area within this walk area we're trying to improve. Low income, which links up to zero vehicle households pretty well. So you can see the demand that's consistent within these. And for active stuff. Here's our roadway classifications. We have, generally we're bordered by Cedar, which we call a minor arterial, 4th, another minor arterial, 6th, major collector, and all the way over to Isabel, but more or less West Street, also the other major collector. Within there, Dortha is called a minor collector. See that play out in just what the volumes are. Road configuration. The thicker it is, the wider it is, and then the darker it is, the faster it is. So West is fast, 4th and Cedar, west of West are wide.
Does any street jump out at us here? That graphic?
About dying?
And does any street jump out at us? Oh.
See, the wider lines mean what?
How many lanes?
Oh, all right.
I mean, 4th is terrible. Is that what you're asking? 4th is terrible to walk or bike on?
Dark line.
That too.
Yeah, I was thinking about 4th. It's terrible.
Yeah.
There's a few of the things kind of in motion. This map doesn't get into what's funded and what's not funded. Let's go over what actually exists. So this roundabout, this was made just a little bit ago, but now it's in. So we got a roundabout here. We have one beacon crossing here. Stop controlled beacon crossing down here, beacon, a median crossing, flashing beacon here too. I think they're going to have their bearings for stuff. And then these gray ones are ideas that exist in some document somewhere. Most of them are pulled from active transportation master plan. So a crossing here at Main to Grandview, which links into First. Another crossing here that may just be a median versus a beacon crossing. Crossings down on Sixth as well. Maybe more beacons on Fourth. That's the gist of some of the ideas that already exist in a planning document somewhere.
Carl, before you move on, Estelle, you've got your hand up?
Thank you. Yeah, I think it was the previous slide, and maybe you answered this, but yeah, curious if it was based off of, it looks like it's the previous infrastructure and not the roundabout, and I don't know if it's changed at all, like the lane configuration with the roundabout.
Not yet, except for within the roundabout.
Okay.
Here's Mountain Line. The size of the circle is how busy the stop is. It's a lot of action by Safeway on Cedar, high school, Safeway, all that draws in a lot, and then the rest are a little bit behind. Well, here's some existing counts. So Cedar is the only one within here that is showing more than 10,000.
What is that? Is it per day?
Yeah.
And the ridership was per day too, the Mountain Line?
I don't know. Oh, relative.
Over
It's
to
just
those,
low anyway.
those charts to the left though, are those?
Yeah, like 160 versus
Yeah.
years. What is it?
Yeah, that seems like it's a year's worth of data, no?
Is that 160? That seems more like per day. Yeah.
Is that
Or is that
like an average?
1,000?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
Mystery.
I think it's per day.
Yeah, I would say that's per day. I mean, 40 people per day for 6th and 3rd, that kind of makes sense, but
Does that route run 3 times an hour or twice an hour?
I think 3, there's a bunch of roads
20?
over there.
Every 20
Yeah.
minutes?
I think it's every 20 minutes as of July.
Yeah.
Of July, I think it increased service.
This is just vehicle traffic, I'm assuming, correct?
Yep, yeah, so this is your daily vehicle traffic. Everyone has a feel, for reference, Milton is close to 40,000 vehicles per day. This 10,000 on Cedar, I think it's closer to 14 if you really dig in. If you've driven that, that's the perspective. Fourth, north of Seventh is, I think, just under 10,000. So then it has more lanes, so it really opens up. In terms of that.
Do they, this is just off the map, but do they have counts for Fourth south of Sixth?
I think it's off the map. I feel like I've seen it at some point and it is just under 20,000. It jumps up a good bit.
So significantly different south of Sixth or Seventh and north of Seventh.
Yeah. We're looking at, there's the rule of thumb of when you need 4 lanes versus 2 lanes, so 2 in each direction versus 1 in each direction. It's somewhere around 18,000. It's kind of a rule of thumb that you can go with. So I remember looking at 4th Street south of 6th, that that rule of thumb shows a need for the 4 lanes, but north of 7th for sure, it's below that threshold. A lot of other stuff can go into that, but that's the crash history. This one groups them together. This one, it might look chaotic, but let's zoom in. The darker is more serious, and then bigger. There's only 2 options. VRU is big, and then the small ones. So pedestrians or bike are the VRU, and then the small ones are the vehicle crashes.
That dot by Buffalo Park, is that roughly where the crosswalk is? Yeah,
The beacon cross, our RFB beacon crossing.
Okay.
Oh, no, sorry.
no, it doesn't have a beacon. It's just, but you know when that other road
The slip lane.
comes to,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
the lane.
it's a little
there's
bit
a
beyond
crossing.
that.
Okay,
But it probably is within the margin of kind of inaccuracy of the geographic data. So it may have been that, we'd have to pull the report to see it.
When did someone die there?
It's 2018,
Pedestrian or cyclist?
pedestrian.
it probably is then, because you like get stuck from the sidewalk and have to cross over right there by the slip lane.
Yeah, there are curb ramps and a crosswalk across the slip lane to continue along Cedar that way. But we weren't able to verify if that's where it occurred or not.
Okay.
The other one by the beacon on 4th and Dorotha. Their pedestrian fatality, definitely a cluster around there. Cluster where the roundabout is now. Pattern's certainly gonna change. Just a full line of busyness all the way down Cedar. Dorotha had more than I expected. Thought it'd be a little quieter. West didn't seem to have much along it. It was just at the crossing spots. 6th has less than Cedar, but definitely a pattern of unsafe stuff along 6th.
One potential explanation for Dorotha is a number of years ago that the city put in bike lanes along Dorotha, so it may attract bicyclists. Like that, what you're seeing may be an increase in bicyclists, not necessarily all crashes are a safety concern, but there may be crashes there because there are more bicyclists attracted to it.
In general, Martin's favorite caveat, percentage wise, it might be the safest street, even though it has the most crashes. This one kind of just, the generic answer is too fast or didn't get out of the way. It's just what shows up in the police reports. Here's a few things. There was a separate metro plan effort going on that wrapped up just a little bit ago. I think in general, they could say there's a bike lane issue and you could put a dot where you had one, or a sidewalk issue. So there's a few of those on 4th Street as an example. And then these quotes, I think the arrows are from the user survey, so they're not exactly accurate, but the sentiment is accurate. Crossings on Cedar, there's 2 crossings there. And then, or there are 2 comments talking about that. And then a general 4th Street's no good. Tallying them up and giving it some sort of ranking with their previous one. We'd have to dig into their rankings for it to mean much, so go back to here. This is a bit closer to where we're at on what we're looking for here is we're asking, we've gone to the Sunnyside Neighborhood Association. We're just getting this survey out that really aims a bit more to identify where people struggle and what are the issues. And then we'll dig into solutions a bit later. So this survey, as you jump in, I think if you have a slam dunk solution, sure, throw it in there, but generally, and then this group, I think, understands the infrastructure design a bit more. Sometimes it's just a little bit more efficient and targeted if you ask, where do you struggle? What do you like? What do you dislike? Versus jumping straight into what's the answer. So that's where we're at. We're asking those questions, and that's within the survey. We can brainstorm a little bit while we're here on that too, but I would also encourage getting it in the survey so we can filter and have a record of those comments later. I think it's on, the link to the survey is on the digital for everyone online too. It's on the agenda. Get to it. So that's kind of the background. A few things we're moving with right now to share. There is some art going in. So this north is to the right. They're doing the whole big detention basin here. This is across from Safeway. This is West and Cedar. This corner, in this corner, they're doing an art project. They were gonna rip out the curb and redo the ramp. They just put it back just to, because they're doing other work, and they were gonna put it back how it was. We were able to sneak in a tighter radius. So I ran some truck turning templates and was able to get a little bit tighter radius, basically adding 4 feet behind the ramp of flat space. So every little bit counts a little bit, but this one ought to move forward. So we have 4 more feet for staging area and 4 more feet of extra room up against the art. We get to it. So that ought to start moving forward this next summer. That stuff, there's an artist on board and everything. This one I put in here. It has come up as an idea. These are general rule of thumb radius for roundabouts. So if this ever converted to a roundabout, we'd happily redo the ramp. That wouldn't be a big deal, but we wouldn't want to redo the art. So that's what the reason for drawing this was, and maybe this outside line would be the best place if the art could be outside of that, and we have that flexibility for roundabout at some point. To have some advantages. Bookend Cedar with 2 roundabouts. The other thing that's coming, starting really soon, is there's been a lot of different construction slicing across Cedar and through it, and they're just gonna mill the top inch or so of pavement and put a brand new fresh pavement on it. So while they were doing that, we took advantage of that and are restriping it. So this is we have to hold the general scheme of striping that exists, whereas this infrastructure project, we could reinvent it a bit more, like move the curbs even and play with sidewalks and more medians and crossing warrants. That we'll get through all that in the overall study, but this one was kind of a quick update project. And should repave next week is what I hear. Then you have to wait a couple weeks to put the striping in. And since it's winter and cold, the striping might be a temporary striping, and then the thick real deal striping will go in the spring. Extra green on the crossing. General gist of it, we narrowed all the lanes. There's a 3-foot buffer and a 5-foot bike lane everywhere. And then where it merges with the bus stops, it becomes a shared area for a little bit. And the bus will be able to pull into here and be fully out of the lane. So there won't need to be any weird maneuvering to get around the bus.
What's the current lane width?
They're all, I think they're 12-foot lanes and like a 13-foot center lane.
Yeah.
And this would be 3 11-foot lanes, essentially. And for reference, Milton and 66 have 11-foot lanes already.
And 10-foot medians.
Yeah, so even a narrower median. Invented kind of a new thing for the bus stops and then basically just buffered bike lane with switching the lane width from how it used to be. See how it kind of how it ties into the roundabout a bit. Basically the same idea, and then it'll turn into the roundabout from here. This striping ought to come in a couple weeks. There are a few things coming. Is there places? I know a lot of you.
Sorry,
I can walk all over.
or sorry,
Yeah, Stella,
sorry,
go
just
ahead.
before moving on. Sorry, I'm just jumping in. Do you mind going back to that graphic? First a question. I'm assuming, have you coordinated with Mountain Line for these, for the bus stops? Because I know a while back they've wanted to move these bus stops because of so many people running across. And the one on the north side is like one of the top stops. They wanted to add a shelter, but they can't due to the right of way.
Yeah, we didn't get to the shelter part of it because it wasn't a right of way able project yet. But we moved this one from here to over here in between here. So hopefully that brings them closer to the crossing, encourages a little bit more of that. Since this one has a shelter, we left it alone. Yeah, operations went out and tested this area and gave the okay for it. And Mountain Line in general, while we were brainstorming this scheme, we got some widths and ideas from it. They were in on that from the whole way.
This is the eastbound stop is remaining where it is now.
Yeah,
The westbound stop is moving to the closer to the intersection.
yeah, moved one driveway closer.
Perfect. And I guess I'd be curious to get other BAC members' thoughts on this bike lane with the bus. Because if a bus is there, which it's pretty often, because both buses are 20-minute frequency, like both, at least on the southbound. So if a bus is there, a bike would be pushed into the road or would have to wait for the bus, right? Is that the thinking?
I bike this pretty frequently. I actually haven't run into buses too many times, maybe just by luck. I've had more issues biking both directions with the parking lots, especially the Safeway parking lot and being cut off by vehicles. So
Vehicles pulling in and out.
yes,
I mean,
yeah, vehicles pulling in and out, particularly where I think Carlton, where you said they just moved the bus stop to, that's like the #1 area where I've almost been hit on my bike is right there.
This one?
Yeah.
Mhm.
To be fair, I also wind up, especially during the construction, I've just been taking the lane. So buses
Oh.
weren't an issue for me. But I could see that being a potential problem. I have to say though, I don't think I've had too many conflict points with buses riding this.
Why aren't those crossings all painted green? Like for bikes, if regular intersections are painted green, why wouldn't the Safeway crossings, because those are all ins and outs anyway. I understand like small businesses, like the old Salvation Army over there, that's like an abandoned building. Obviously, no one's going in and out of that, but Safeway is it's more used than most streets, honestly.
Yeah.
And so why wouldn't that be painted green to give the people coming down that, be like, oh, there's green in the road, maybe I should look up River and see if there's a bike coming through.
Yeah.
And same with the ones but lower down too.
The thought is on driveways, the line doesn't break.
And so people in Flagstaff are awful drivers.
And then, so he's at the road, the lines break and then this green carries through. There was the option to add some green within this taper. It kind of got voted down for maintenance.
Who was part of that vote? Like, how did that come up?
1-0.
Uh, yeah,
Any attention grabbing anything
Yeah, I agree.
is a safe school feature.
And I think if you've got misalignment on the bus stops, people are gonna run across, they're still not gonna go to the crosswalk. I just don't think they will. Because people are switching lines frequently there. That's part of why they're running across. They're going from something westbound to something else eastbound. At least that's what I've seen when I lived in this neighborhood, is people were often crossing from a bus stop to a bus stop. So maybe it will do something, but I'm not confident that that will do much.
yeah, with this was while they're doing a repave overlay effort, and then hopefully with this larger effort, we could evaluate medians and crossings, even moving the curb can get a bit larger with that one.
How long is the distance between the Cedar West to the next, like, the next Beacon crossing? Because there's multiple bus stops along that leg of Cedar, right? That's part of why so many people are crossing, not at a stop. Because the bus stops in front of like New Jersey Pizza Company, but then it stops like, I don't know, I'm not good at distance, 200 feet later or something like that.
The next one to the east. Yeah, so if we're zoomed out, we got this one, and then New Jersey, like you said, and this one, they're more directly across. Those are the four.
I think I know we've talked about this in the BIC before. I think that's part of why there's so many people crossing. It's just there's bus stops quite frequently for different routes along there. And your crosswalks are pretty far apart from the Beacon one by the school to Cedar and West is pretty far.
So there's definitely a kind of an identified need for crossings along there. I think, I mean, the striping is just, that we're doing now is just like restriping by opportunity, because we have that. Because it's happening so quickly, we couldn't work in any places to
Do anything
add
else.
crossings. I think when you think about this survey and the next phase, we can identify all those things. Cedar is not, high traffic compared to a lot of streets. It's only 2 lanes to cross. There's a median in the middle. It may be possible to include crossings without any extra enhancements, and it may be perfectly, comfortable or possible for people to cross at those places. So I think that all those things should be in play. I mean, talk about it now at this meeting, but if you fill out the survey, bring that up as well.
Yeah, can do.
I'm kind of curious if there are potential unintended consequences of putting the bus stop between the two pull-in and pull-outs by the gas station, and because that's where it is, right? There's the gas station and then like the old, I'm gonna date myself, Walgreens or whatever it was. I don't know what it is now. But you don't currently have a density of people, and those two areas are like kind of crowded with cars coming in and out, and now you're gonna put more people there. The bus stop. I was just wondering if that may actually increase the potential for interactions.
Where was it before?
Especially if there's a bus there and you're looking at the bus.
Yeah.
And then you're not focused on the car about to hit you coming from.
So
It was right here, so that came up in the context of this being the busier one, and when the buses stop, people will go around the bus. And it's even more blind.
Okay.
There was that a little bit.
Tough spot.
I think I think Mountain Line wants to put a pad, some more here, so this was kind of step one a bit in the city. We wanted it closer to the intersection and encourage that use. That was the main the main reason.
Do you want like comments on general safety concerns in this area at this point, which we can also complete in the survey? Because I have lots of things to say, if that's what you're looking for. Like, for example, on West, that bike lane, I also bike like twice a week. And on the, can't get my directions right, but it's always blocked by, or it's frequently blocked by trash cans the whole way down. So I wind up taking the lane, which is generally okay in that traffic is not huge and people are pretty good about passing. But that's one of the bike lanes that I think has the most frequent recycling cans just the whole way, because it's residential primarily, right? And then some business, yeah, it's both. There's some businesses along there, but like just every trash or recycling day, it's full of those. And I'm just in the lane.
I don't go up there as often, but it's, to me, it just feels like every day is trash and recycling.
It does. Yeah. Also people don't, yeah, it's very frequently.
Never seen it.
That's what I would say. Otherwise, like not terrible apart from, Pine Needle and like the general problems of debris removal, but the traffic is pretty low.
Do you notice, it looks like there's a parkway sometimes, but not always. You notice, are the trash cans in the parkway when there is one, and then on the bike lane when there isn't?
Most frequently starting at 6th and then going towards 66. And
Okay, so
I don't
that's-
think there's much of a parkway from there
Yeah,
onward.
that would be.
Yeah, I don't think there's any parkway in that.
Yeah, so it's a
Solid
little
six.
bit better between, I think, Cedar and 6th. In part because, yeah, there's also other stuff like the skate park. But once you get to this intersection, then they just start.
There we go.
Yeah.
Bike lane's totally blocked.
Yeah.
Tell me, Laura.
Bike lane.
Almost there. Yep, fix it.
But they're still
Yeah,
there.
no.
They're still there and it's, I can't tell you the directions. It's the right-hand side, the direction that you're going, it would be if you're on the right. I haven't had as much of an issue for whatever reason going the other direction, but
Yeah, there's a lot, yeah.
there's a lot. They're always in the lane.
Yep,
Um,
that is one of the parkway is the first idea, but. You go to Eric's.
Fourth also, as I said before, is terrible, for biking, in part because you're like in the drains half the time. There's a lot of from the shopping plaza that has Fratelli's and everything in it. There's lots of vehicles moving in and out, also by the Walgreens. The intersection of 4th and 66, if you've been taking the 66 foots and then you take the little asphalt wraparound, you have to, or at least I do, depending on traffic, you can either be lucky and get to the bike lane and then cross more smoothly from the bike lane to the bike lane, but more often I wind up using the intersection as a pedestrian and then having to like do a weird thing on the sidewalk.
Where is it?
At like 4th and 66.
Like going across a little plaza to get back into the bike lane?
Yes.
Going northbound on 4th?
Yeah, or if I'm feeling really brave, then I just look and I stick my arm up and I get into traffic. But it's awkward either way to cross that. Plus it's missing sidewalks, which I think was on here. It's only got that one beacon, or it's got the 2 beacon crossings, but there's a need to cross more frequently, especially by Killip. Traffic also backs up by Killip if you're there at the right time, which makes it harder to walk or bike or get to bus stops.
The whole point of safer schools is to get kids safer to school, I'm guessing. The broader picture for me of, visiting a lot of other bike-friendly places and then coming to Flagstaff is Flagstaff has very low ridership and pedestrian use for a city that claims to be outdoorsy. And that's like why I'm mainly here. And back to like green anything is just drawing attention to the presence of safety. And I feel like Flagstaff in general, and any implementation of anything. It's just the more crossings that you can make green for bikes or green for pedestrians, and any notification of like what Cottonwood does, where the whole downtown has pedestrian crossing. Every crossing is that. So people are more stopping more. Just the visibility and presenting yourself as a safer town then gets more people to use. And it's kind of, I feel like, a positive cycle. And I would say with anything in this safe school is any bike lane that crosses anywhere, make it green. There need to be more frequent crossings and or just crosswalks with the little pedestal in the middle of the street, because then, you know, kids can stop and wait for a car. They see them, they're not doing their thing, like, well, I don't have to do this. Just visibility in
Pedestal,
general.
you mean just
Just like the little market, you go to Cottonwood and it's every corner is a crosswalk for their downtown. And you can cross anywhere and just make eye contact. And there's in the middle of the lane is a reflective pedestal that just says, stop at crosswalks. It's not blinky, you don't have to interact with it. It just gives you a reason to get mad at a car when they don't stop. And in my mind, there is no reason for a town that advertises themselves as an outdoor, bike-friendly, pedestrian-friendly town not to have an insane quantity of crosswalks, green painting, anything that is in your face to any tourist. That's just like, hey, we are this, and we exemplify that. Like, I can go to a small town in Iowa that does it better than us, for whatever reason. And so with the safe school stuff, any crossing, anything, of course a kid should be able to cross. That's, I guess, my overall opinion on it.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say too, the other thing, which I'm sure you all have on here and know, is that for Coconino, Isabel gets really busy and people walk in the street on Isabel. Students walk in the street on Isabel all the time during that time. So they're often in conflict. People typically aren't going too fast. So I haven't seen anything really scary, but there's high pedestrian volume on Isabel. And then at lunchtime, the Cedar West intersection is bananas with students. So, which again, I'm sure you all already know, but to reiterate, like there really should be, to your point, like more signs so that people don't try to turn right immediately into pedestrians, and probably a leading pedestrian interval, given the size of some of the student crowds, because it's like 20 kids going in a group.
But those are all getting marked green too, right?
Yeah, green would also be good.
Yeah, but like back to your 4th and 66, like
yeah,
anything that's just like differentiated.
I think one of the challenging things about this particular part of town, I agree with everything, is that you have 3 schools here that are drawing a population from largely outside of this neighborhood. Puente is a magnet school, MEMS is a middle school, and it has a pretty big range, and so is Coconino. So you have so many people who don't probably feel like they live proximal enough to be using these modes of transportation. But for the people that are in that like neighborhood that are getting to those schools, they don't have like a great way. But I think there's always just going to be like a higher density of bus traffic, people driving their kids to school. Like with this like grouping here is a tough one because you're just going to have like a pretty high density of cars. Presumably, I'm just kind of making some assumptions based on what I know about these 3 schools and where they're pulling students from. But, you know, that's just like slowing traffic down, more signage, because you're probably not gonna be able to remove those factors entirely, I'm guessing. Like drivers and buses coming in.
Busy.
Yeah.
Vehicles.
Do any of the, Killip I know has crossing guards at the beacon or the whatever crosswalk there is across 6 by Killip. They've got guards there. Do any of the other schools have crossing guards?
Puente does.
Puente does.
I don't believe MEMS,
Does Coconino?
I don't know,
I think so.
but the elementaries do for sure.
Do
Do you want me to answer?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so, Puente has a crossing guard at Linda Vista. MEMS has some teachers that help. Okay, let me preface this with, there's not much training I'm gonna preface it with that. Okay, so there are some crossing guards that help at the Beacon Crossing in front of MEMS. There are no crossing guards at Pine Forest, because there are more schools. There's 5, actually. Killip has 1 crossing guard on 6th, who happens to have a training because they were a retired police officer. That's the only reason it was not done by the school district. And there are no crossing guards at all at any of the high schools. There you go. But there should be.
Yeah, I would agree.
Just a random thing while you're zoomed on that back to what I was talking about in Cottonwood. Why wouldn't you have like, because you know all the kids are going to be focusing to get to a school. And when I was a kid, I don't know, you always like found your, or when you bike, right? The most fun about bike commuting is finding a new route that is somehow faster. You're like, oh, if I take my left here, it's kind of iterative. Kids are doing the same thing. Why within a stretch of say 3 blocks coming into a school from all angles, why aren't there multiple crosswalks? Back to who cares if a car has to stop? You know, it's just like that kid is going to cross there whether there's a crosswalk or not. So there might as well be a crosswalk. And if they're there, then they can make eye contact and cross. I guess it's just
My specific, are you talking about like a
Just-
intersection, just
yeah, I mean,
like the painted markings?
just like, okay,
Block
you have
crossings?
a crosswalk here. This one, 2 schools up here. Sunnyside is full of kids. Like, why isn't this kid that's coming out of this house or this house is going to cross here,
Okay.
no matter what you tell them? Why for these blocks don't we have just crosswalks with signs in the middle, drawing visibility for this stretch? Because they're all working from this corner into this zone to cross, and they're gonna cross wherever they want. They're not waiting for that.
Yeah, I would say adults too, but since we're talking about schools, yeah, and along 4th as well, people are just crossing.
So, and, yeah. But like a car, if there's no one there, isn't gonna slow down. Same flow. It gives the kid or adult like, hey, stop for me, kind of the power over it.
An old school engineering thing that talks about a false sense of security that a crosswalk creates. So if you're gonna cross anyway, if there's no crosswalk, you pay a little bit more attention. That's the thought. We've dug into it. It's a bit out of context. We'll oversimplify it. It's prevalent in a lot of engineering stuff.
It's a 1972 era traffic planning trope that crosswalks give pedestrians a false sense of security.
Would you equally say that the lack of marked crosswalks gives cars an unearned sense of entitlement to just go?
Yeah, I'm sure they're different.
There was a study by Jennifer. The study came out of Detroit in 1972.
You gotten any feedback yet about the new roundabout and the improved crossings there?
I haven't.
Anyone?
Metro plan?
Flow, it seems good. One of the issues is at the Beacon Crossing. I've heard the crossing guards hold the kids or hold the cars for so long that it backs traffic up into the roundabout, which causes a problem for the buses who can't get through to drop the kids off. I've heard that. We did go out there and film a video, which should be, the edits are being completed now to teach the kids how to use the roundabout. And so we'd be educating all the kids because a lot of them don't know how to use a beacon crossing. They've never had to use a beacon crossing. So we did do that. I don't know. We were out there. What'd you guys think? We saw lots of stuff.
I have a kid at Puente and I have to say, it's much better. I was skeptical about it And it has really improved the flow. I mean, it's not perfect, like you identified an issue, but I would say the overall flow in and out of that area where MEMS and Puente are is much better.
That's good, because Puente is one of the schools we observed that had the worst parents. They were really mean.
Oh,
Horrible. Sorry. I love all the, there was foul language and screaming and words that shouldn't be said at an elementary school.
Oh my.
Their parents.
It wasn't me.
No, I'm not saying. I've never experienced that in an observation before in my life, so that was interesting.
Okay, well.
But I love all the parents that I've met there, not the one in the line that I experienced.
Well, we're fascinating.
No,
Hands?
nothing.
Okay. Is there a deadline to complete the survey? You mentioned that, I may have missed.
It's November 21st. Don't delay. This sparked all your brains cooking. You can sleep on it, and it'll really coalesce, and then survey tomorrow. Folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was.
That's my one. I just.
Gonna give them out to the Puente parents. Let's give it to them.
What's your thought on the roundabout? See if they start cussing at you.
There you go. Carl, anything else you have for us?
That's it.
Okay. Great, so everybody take the survey, it'll document, Martin was busy here scribbling notes on his magic pad. So minutes that we'll get to approve in a few months. We'll remember. Move us on to the next discussion item. New pedestrian advisory committee and bike advisory committee agenda format.
So you may have noticed, we switched over in the meeting notice that we sent out, it was both a PDF of the agenda and the staff reports and a link to the online version. Did you all get a chance to, how did you interact with it, I guess, and how did it work? This is, if you clicked on the link, let me share here.
That destinihosted.com one.
Yes, that's the one.
To be perfectly honest, I didn't even notice it was that different. So I would say it's really streamlined.
Giant donation. Excellent.
It's hours of forecasting. You guys.
No idea what it took to get it back to that place.
So sorry. It looks
No.
great.
It's all good. When you go to the online version, it looks like this, like the agenda. Each one of these items is a link. So if I click on the item we just went through, it has a staff report, links, and then in this case, there's an attachment, which is a survey flyer. So if I clicked on that, it would bring up the flyer that we just looked at.
I don't know if this is just I didn't notice this last time, but or if it's just a service issue, but it's kind of like looks a little
It's the same
Clumps.
on two different
on the
browsers.
mobile device. Oh, okay.
Is it like mainly, is it like on your device thing or is it? Your computer?
I can't say if
It's
it,
just
I don't know if it looked like that on the computer, but on the mobile device, it seems to be
Okay.
smushed at the top together.
Good to know. In terms of just the agenda itself, there were just a couple of changes. All the same items that you saw before are basically on here. We did change from new and old business to discussion items and action items. It makes it clear to the public which items may have a potential PAC or BAC action associated with them. It's more in line with what other commissions in the city council does, I think, or at least other commissions. City council is a whole different format. We did make public comment at the beginning. It's been renamed to open call to the public, but it's otherwise still the same. Again, that's consistency with other commissions. And then we have added item that used to be announcements is now informational items to and from the commission and staff. From the beginning of the meeting to the end of the meeting. Thought that might change the whole social dynamic of how that meeting unfolds. We'll see. The nice thing about this is we appear on the city's agenda page with all the other commissions. I mean, I guess we're kind of buried down. Here's us in this meeting. We're with all the other commissions and boards and city council. So it's kind of the one place where people can go to find meeting agendas. And then if I click on this one, it brings up our meeting. Ultimately, when we start doing minutes in this system, they will appear over here. Again, that's kind of a one-stop, consistent place for people to find things. Wow. Okay, that's all I had for that one. If there are any other comments, I'm happy to listen to them.
Does it make meeting minutes a little bit streamlined on things too?
We hope so.
That's
We hope so. This,
Oh, yeah.
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 we hope this ends the time when minutes are, get months and months behind. Able to do it a little bit more efficiently.
Great. Yep. No action items. Moving on to reports. Regional Plan 2045.
It was approved by the council in October. And next up is it goes to the voters in May, I think, in a special write-in only ballot. I think it may be the only thing on the agenda.
Turned out really great for that one. Next one, micromobility share.
Yes, this one is me. So I'm sure you're all familiar with the micromobility share discussion that's been ongoing for the last couple of months. We went back to council last month to essentially we pulled together all of the results of our outreach phase and offered our official staff recommendation for bringing a micromobility share company to Flagstaff. We presented with an interagency team representing city engineering, city sustainability, Metro Plan, Mountain Line, and NAU. That's our working group that's been together for going on 2 years now. Our official staff recommendation was to open a procurement process allowing one vendor to operate in Flagstaff, and they'll have to enter into a contract with the city that requires special considerations for safety, parking management, winter operations, and more. After the presentation, council offered their unanimous support to proceed with procurement while keeping all of the stakeholder input as a driving force through the process. Yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. Next steps include we have a lot to work through, so it will probably be a little while before we see this really coming to fruition. We're starting a comprehensive fee study so the city has a permit process and the company hopes to be awarded the permit. Most other cities associate like a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 yearly fee to help cities offset their management charges. So now myself and Kim are starting a big effort to see how other cities do that. Simultaneously, we'll be investigating how they manage these programs. We anticipate making a staff request for a new position that this responsibility would be a portion of what that person does on the day-to-day, overseeing the program, analyzing data that they share with us, et cetera. those are my updates. Are there any questions on this, on the status of it? Anything to add, Kim?
That's perfect.
What kind of contract terms would you guys have? Would it be like a 1 year or would it be like 3 year kind of?
Yeah, a little bit more than 1 year because we want them to be able to really like get established. I think that we haven't settled on anything yet, but we've discussed, I believe, an initial 2 or 3 year contract with the ability to extend on a yearly basis out to 5 years.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Chris. Bicycle friendly community application.
I got this one, Martin. Sure. So we were all, yeah, this went to Bicycle Advisory Committee more specifically. Ultimately, we submitted our official application, looking to go from silver to gold status. That was done back in June. After that, there was the Bike Friendly America gave us a survey to circulate throughout the community. That has already opened and closed as of early October. So now we're just sort of in a waiting period, looking to we're expecting to find out in December if how we did. And it comes with a whole bunch of results from how they think, as far as how they think that we're doing. So it's going to be very valuable with everything that we put into that application. They're going to grade it and tell us how we can improve. And it will also give us all of the survey results as well, which will be very interesting to see what people who took it throughout the community are saying. That's really it.
Since this is a combined meeting, we can also report that the city has been designated a walk-friendly community since 2010. We feel like an application may be coming due before too long. We reached out to the Walk-Friendly Communities program and have not heard anything back. Their website's gone a little bit, it's still there, but it hasn't really had any updates for a couple of years. So we're just trying to find out what our status is, what's going on.
Committee vacancies and appointments.
So a little bit of activity. 2 members of BAC and 2 members of PAC were reappointed at the last Transportation Commission, so you're good for another few years. We have 2 members on PAC are termed out. BAC has 1 vacancy and 1 member termed out. We're recruiting new applications. We have, that we know of, at least 2 active applications for the Pedestrian Committee. And potentially 2, we haven't been able to confirm for the Bike Advisory Committee. That the way the city collects applications now is a little bit different. We don't have immediate access to them. So usually I find out because people will send me an email and say, hey, I applied. Did you get my application? So we're sorting that out. We're working towards having appointments made at the December 3rd Transportation Commission meeting. So hopefully we'll have the remaining reappointments and potentially a few new people appointed in December.
Martin let me know before the meeting. I'm one of those 2 people. I didn't realize 6 years goes by quick. So there'll be a need for a new chair for the PAC starting maybe December or January, whenever. But Jody and I will be, Jody's the other one, right?
Jody's the other one.
Yeah, so Jody and I will be exiting stage left.
So
And we'll be bringing in
The
some,
vacancy on the BAC.
you're bringing in some fresh blood.
You've considered.
Have you heard of the BAC?
Matter of fact.
also a fun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
probably November will be your last meeting. Jody will be your last meeting. And Estelle is the one on BAC.
Okay. Safe Streets Master Plan.
Right. So in 2024, the city and Metro Plan were awarded $2.1 million to contribute to a $2.6 million master planning effort for transportation. We have been working on getting a consultant on board for the better part of the last year. And in recent weeks, we have been working to finalize our scope with Kittleson and Associates. They're going to be they're going to be our consultant for the project. A contract is anticipated to be initiated in November, and the official project kickoff will be in December of this year. There should be plenty to talk about with BAC and PAC throughout that process.
Butler Avenue, complete streets conversion.
So another SS4A project. This is for construction, enhancing Butler Avenue from Milton Road to Sawmill Road, moving bike lanes off the street, protected intersections along the corridor, very exciting. The city has procured a consultant and they've begun work on phase 1 of the project, which includes conducting the environmental clearances and reaching 30% design. We're currently at 15%. And this city capital improvements division has hired a new project manager who's assigned to it, which is exciting. We actually conducted a field walk yesterday of the whole corridor. We spent about 2.5 hours walking the entire thing with WSP, the consultant doing the design work. And yeah, we're excited to see this project moving along. Their deadline for completing environmental clearance is the end of February, and then it will be full steam ahead on design through 2026, looking to have be under construction in 27 for that entire construction season, and 28 for the majority of that construction season as well, completed in ideally fall of 2028. That's that.
Really taking over here at the end, Craig.
Yeah, you know, they wanted me to bring it home. Butler Port.
The more bikeways, off-street bikeways, it's mostly the Butler 4th intersection roundabout. That'll become a roundabout there. And underpass for hooks too. There's gonna be a lot of earthwork in there. And then there'll be bikeways from 4th over through the I-40 interchanges. So we got 30% plans over a year ago now, and a lot of different moving parts. And we'll start moving forward. We have a consultant on board to move us forward to full construction plans, and the scope moved from the east side of I-40 interchange all the way through the I-40 interchange there. So that'll be 2 lanes in each direction and separated bikeways. Just the gist. Should get going soon. We had a kickoff meeting real recent, week and a half ago, I think. Moving again.
When you guys hire the consultants, are you talking like each one of these projects has a different consultant on board?
Yes. Yeah. They go out to bid individually and. Schweitzer Canyon Foots.
I'll take this one. It's full on under construction. I'll get a lot of it done before the end of the year, but it looks like its official opening won't be till early next year. We're running into a little bit of constructability at the west end where it connects to Terrace. We knew it was going to be a challenging area. There may be some version of an interim trail in there until we can figure out a final solution. An interim trail may be anything from a single track to like a 4-foot wide aggregate surface trail. But we'll have to figure that out. We'll have some connection to make in some manner. It just may not be the final configuration.
ADOT Route 66 pavement preservation.
So this project is, ADOT is repaving Route 66 from Alvin Clark Boulevard, which is basically the public works yard on the west end, all the way to Fanning on the east end. And we're working with them on a couple of striping changes and enhancements. There's a shoulder along most of that corridor. We believe that the shoulder can be made continuous along the West Route 66 part of it. There's a couple places on the east. There's more or less a continuous shoulder, but there's a few places where when you get to an intersection where there's a right turn lane added, that the shoulder disappears. We think we'll be able to add those as part of the project. That shoulder per ADOT standards is not a bike lane unless the city wanted to take it on in terms of maintenance. So we haven't done that. So it's a shoulder. It's a place for bikes to ride, but it's technically not a bike lane. It's definitely not for everyone to ride in. Most people, myself included, are happier in the Foots Trail. I have ridden in it. When RAM, the Ride Across America, comes through town, they aren't on the Foots Trail, they're in the road, but of course they have like support vehicles right behind them as well when they do that. We've also asked for a couple other enhancements related to sidewalks and Foots Trails. We're still working through that with ADOT, so we're optimistic, but we'll just have to work through it. They think that project will go in the summer of 27, so a couple of years out. That's kind of the last report. I did want to kind of wrap up the reports by hearkening back to the last agenda item and the new agenda format. So each one of these reports, we created a small kind of update for, which includes a section that describes what the project is, what its components are, and then what the updates are. So our intent is that we will add to this or update it as necessary every meeting, and we'll be able to see what we reported to you last time and then be able to tell if something significant has happened since that last reporting, if there's something new to tell you. And if there's not, it probably won't be on the agenda, like if nothing has happened. In the meantime, months go by really quick, it seems. So a lot of times a month will go by and something may have happened, something may not have happened. So we'll use this to kind of keep you updated and kind of track what progress we're telling you about. So if you see something in the reports, now you can check here ahead of time out of the meeting to see what exactly the update is. That's all I had about that.
Okay. Martin, number 8, informational items to and from commissioners and staff. I don't remember what that used to be called, even though you just told us 10 minutes ago.
Announcements.
Announcements. Informational items to and from commissioners and staff. Any announcements from commissioners or committee members, I suppose? Valerie.
Hey, yeah, I wasn't sure exactly where to say this, but for the BAC folks, I'm sorry I didn't make it to the transportation commission meeting in October. We had a little family emergency come up. But I think I can do the December one unless anyone else is dying to do it.
Go for it.
Cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you for doing it.
I have a
That's all.
question.
Thanks.
Sure.
I think at the last BAC meeting, I mentioned that the repaving of San Francisco Street that they've done, there is no bike lane painted on the street anymore. They have restripped this, at least partially restripped the street. There's still no bike lane on that section that they repaved, which is from, I'm not actually sure where it starts, but like goes up towards the intersection with.
You're
Like
talking like
Dale
all the way
to-
from Dale
Yeah.
to, yeah.
Correct. Yeah, there's still no bike lane and it's really unclear what you're supposed to do. And I ride it a lot and I've been having more, generally cars have just gone around me and switched lanes. But I've been having more conflict because people are still parking. But it's even less clear where you're allowed to park and then where you're supposed to bike.
Beautiful. It just it goes all the way to Schweitzer Canyon.
Correct. Yeah, all the way to Spicer Canyon. There's no painted lanes. Correct. I don't know. There's like little circles. I was like, is this where it's
There-
supposed to be? It's not there.
Is that the one with the island in it?
Yeah,
Can you get rid of the island?
I assume it's a speed thing, isn't it?
Traffic calming.
Yeah, because people speed way up after the courthouse and like run you off the road if you're a cyclist.
Did they repaint the parking lines on the west side?
No.
Cause
It's
I
not.
keep on seeing like people parking right up against that island and making it really tight there for that.
Or at least I don't think so, because I think most of that, it seems like they just did the dashed line through the center and nothing else is painted. So it's
Yeah,
very tricky.
I went out there with one of our engineers and marked the bike lane for striping. So
And that's what
that's
the circle dots
appreciated.
are. Yeah.
Yeah, when you say that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I was like, I think this is this, but I can't tell
As recently as this week,
today.
today. All right.
Yes.
Good to know.
How has it been since?
Yes, since 9 a.m. this morning.
Back to that island though, if there's a different way to speed comb, just like that always forces cars so close over into the bike lane. Well, when there was a bike lane, I guess.
That is also true.
I've got a question. Is there gonna be further discussion about the downtown intersection when they redo the intersection from pretty much this building to the new hub to the underpass? Where's, because they're redoing the intersection right here at some point. What plan is that?
Is this
Downtown mile.
Route 66 and Milton intersection
Yeah,
with
this
Santa Fe? Or are you talking about?
Yeah, it'd be right here, yeah, by the.
Mhm.
So not
doors in the
Humphrey,
underpass.
but
No,
down
no.
at
Yeah,
Santa
yeah.
Fe.
When are they, are those plans set in stone?
Honestly, I've not, seen a meeting notice for that or heard any discussion about it for a couple of months. I think they're still in motion, but I'm not sure what the status is. I can find out. I think they're close. I think we looked at them. I think we reviewed them at a previous meeting and they've like worked through, the kind of the broad strokes at least of what the configuration is gonna be.
Will they bring that to us and have feedback before finalizing that? Like, will we see that?
I would say no, probably not. Like I think they're at a point. I'll find out what point they're at. And if it can be brought back, but I'm guessing that they're at a percentage of the plans done where they're past the point where they're taking feedback and looking for input.
I think they are, because the Beautification Public Art Commission is already looking at public art projects for the underpass.
Cool. Just really think there should be a crosswalk there.
Other construction related question. The city has a goal, maybe it's new, maybe it's from the regional plan of, is what I'm thinking, that you would still have pedestrian and bike access during road construction projects, correct? Am I remembering this right? I think it's maybe in the regional plan.
Yeah, it's more than that, actually. I mean, it's like
Other
METCE, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was that implemented anywhere near Sawmill? Because they shut off all of the pedestrian crossings and there was no way to get anywhere on a bike unless you're in a vehicle lane or walking. I don't know how long it was closed for, but I tried to bike through the neighborhood through Southside a week or two ago and got to the intersection of, what would it be, Lone Tree?
Sawmill.
And Butler, right, at Sawmill. And every single crosswalk, the sign just said out of commission. So there's like no way to cross. May not have an answer, but just like that, do you know anything about how it was supposed to be managed during that project? Pedestrian access, because there's normally a fair amount of student traffic from campus around
Yeah,
there.
are you talking about specifically at Sawmill and Butler
Yes.
or?
Oh, you know? Someone knows?
Yeah, I lived there and it was
Yeah.
closed for 2 days, that
Yeah.
little area, and they just basically made us go all the way up to Butler and take that crosswalk. But that one also is still under construction, so it
Yeah,
was a little.
that one's been closed too.
Yeah, so that was a little iffy, and then I think they just had like a crossing guard, kind of like a construction worker was standing there. But it was closed for 2 days, yeah.
Butler was closed too at some point, and now part of it is open, but some directions aren't open.
But technically contractors are supposed to provide pedestrian and bicycle detours as part of their whole construction, right?
I did not see any.
Well, yeah, it's one of those things we've always kind of thought of.
Yeah,
I mean, technically, if, what Matt says is true, if they're closing a leg or a sidewalk, there should be a place for you to go. They should indicate where the detour is to go. The detour doesn't necessarily have to be like super convenient, provided it's a detour. I don't know, I thought they had accommodated pedestrians and bikes generally, even though there are detours through that area during construction. I wasn't aware that it was going to be completely closed.
I don't.
It might have been like a short-term.
Yeah, I don't think it was for long, but there were a couple days
Yeah.
I happened to go through and at Butler and Lone Tree, every single crosswalk
Yeah.
was closed. So there was no way unless you went up to get across.
Specifically at Butler and Lone Tree?
Yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
I would say for kind of a longer term discussion, that's one of the things that we want to look at in the Safe Streets Master Plan. And you can think about like this, like the hierarchy of transportation related things that the city is involved with can go anywhere from policies, guidelines, aspirations to code requirements and engineering standards and things like that. And then kind of the level below that we rarely talk about are their practices, which are often not even written down. I would say that traffic control, detours and closures, especially for pet and bike facilities, kind of fall into that. And I think as part of the Safe Streets Master Plan, that can be revisited. So we have like firm, not just policies for accommodating pets and bikes through construction zones, but practices that keep things from happening, like you can't get across for 2 days or whatever. And I think there are ways to do it. It just needs to be kind of formalized, become something written that is not just a practice because it's the way we've always done it, that we have actual written guidance for it.
Okay.
We're trying to do better, but it's challenging.
Hey, for a little background on that Transportation Commission we had last week. So we discussed the reappointments, and then we had a presentation by one of your new interns.
Well, yeah,
A new,
transportation engineering associate. She was a technician and then got promoted. So
nice.
yeah, she's around. Sydney.
So they gave a presentation on speed humps. And then we did have a pretty good turnout of passionate residents from the Lower Greenlawn neighborhood come in and made some comments on how traffic is cutting through their neighborhood and how dissatisfied they are with it. And they want, some sort of changes happen. So it worked out pretty good that we had the speed hump discussion right after. They were, I think, impressed to see the city was already moving forward on, they're thinking in the right direction for them. But if you wanted somebody on a pedestrian advisory committee, you might want to look up some of those residents and they would be probably up for jumping on the committee.
Thanks for that report out, man. Appreciate it. Anything else? Moving on to next meetings. This is another joint meeting, November 20th.
Yes, we had pre-planned that one because the pedestrian advisory committee falls on the next week. November 27th is Thanksgiving. So we moved the pedestrian committee up and we'll do both. Again, if that sounds okay. You all seem to get along all right.
Yeah.
I've lost track of who's on what.
And with that, that's the end of the agenda. Move on to the last one, adjournment. Thanks, everybody.
All right, and I see that Estella asked if you could send out the study we were looking at before. The Safe Routes to School study.
Oh, yeah. Great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5:56. I don't know if we'll ever have another chair who is like just so on top of the.
Yeah, then PAC always goes to 6:30.
I know. It's
Yes. Maybe just like, and another.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Is it, what's it?
Thanks all online.
Huh? You didn't need them all?
No, I also, you know what? That's probably the packet. Does it have all the reports in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's actually like how it is, but
About what the.
Yeah,
I got the impression.
Sure, there's the agenda and then there's the packet. And the packet includes all the other information in it, so it's gonna be a lot.
I think PAC just.
But it's cool that, yeah, especially the happy fall.
Well, there's a lot.
Yeah, it's here, isn't it?
That was great.
It's dark.
These reports come up and like sometimes we get people from this meeting and then.
Then,
not everybody is necessarily on the same page.
That's very limited, it's fine. Yeah.
So you gotta like come up with a sort of little recap summary every time. I think that could be.
I'm trying to put it down.
It's just, yeah.
I couldn't, yeah.
Like that might not be working.
No, it's just, I like this new system. I think it's gonna streamline. It's pretty useful, but I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, we definitely needed something for you guys to make.
Chaos, that's
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, yeah.
So
Yeah,
did you?
yeah, we've gotten a lot of really that's to be here versus every weekend when I get up with it.
How we run Commissioner Riley Mills and I take photos
Yeah, and everybody's
gets pointed to the
And yeah, we're,
Somebody to do this.
like you, how Mark showed all the other.
Is now we're
on the schedule.
6 years out and
It
became
might
inspired.
encourage people to.
3 from time to
If you're,
pipeline.
you see,
Every good win.
It's helps see other, they're on to, you know.
We actually have
Yeah, but.
our tiers for mostly
So many
the
topics.
70s. And they go out. They don't go out for Gaskin sauce. Even not in the wilderness, just in the dry lake hills. They just.
You found out about that?
Dark color, man.
Yeah.
And light up.
I know,
Apparently,
kind of a bummer, but it's all right. I'll take the nice weather for the shorter days.
We're gonna.
Yeah, we're already.
It's set at 5:42 already.
It's no good.
Great deal.
Do it.
Sneak up on you.
Mark,
I
know.
I tried to, I made the most of it this summer.
Yeah, give them something to do and get out of the office. But yeah, the volunteers just go out once a week and just whatever reports there are. There's some website you can
Oh, yeah.
admit to get trail reports.
Batteries charged up.
Yeah.
Outside of the Forest Service?
Yeah, and they get, somehow it gets forwarded to, our guys, just like me down here. But I just text them directly.
Yeah.
Over the street with my dog jumping over it for scale or my wife climbing over it for scale.
No, it's something.
That's one of those two things. This.
Anyway,
If
like
you're,
this.
if you use your crossings.
The same.
Yeah, give them an idea how much time they're. Thanks, Martin.
Thanks for that.
What a disaster.
But also like with this happening, then like how are we gonna get here to doing massive construction on the third floor and then we have to do like cut each other. Like.
Communicating with some table. Apparently.
It's just been like, everyone's just been stressing because we're like, when is this? Also, the amount of money that they said it would be was like 59. Like, this is everybody is horrible. Like, the cars here and cars here. And I'm like saying, and then also do this thing. And I was like, there's no way that that's enough.
That seems low.
It seems extremely low.
I mean, it's just part of BCC asking for 100 million for their.
Yes. So I was like, I have a lot of questions about it.
They weren't mad at us, they were mad at each other.
It's just smudge on that.
No, later.
Observation.
Everyone's just.
Well, that's.
That is poor form. It was yeah. That's yeah. Is that like?
And after that, we actually went and bought an air quality meter because we started thinking,
I'm not.
did you see? Should I do that? Did I send you that thing?